Study with Artemis, Inc. podcast. This information was produced with the assistance of AI-generated content. What is alchemy? Welcome to our brief exploration of one of history's most fascinating and often misunderstood practices, alchemy. When we hear the word alchemy, many of us immediately think of medieval figures trying to turn lead into gold. And while that's certainly a part of its story, alchemy was, in fact, a much broader and deeper tradition, a complex tapestry woven from philosophy, proto-science, mysticism, and art, spanning thousands of years and diverse cultures. At its core, alchemy was a philosophical and proto-scientific tradition whose practitioners aimed to purify, mature, and perfect certain materials. It wasn't just about transforming physical substances. It often had a profound spiritual dimension, aiming for the perfection of the human soul alongside the perfection of matter. It was a holistic pursuit, bridging the material and the spiritual. The roots of alchemy stretch back to ancient Egypt, where metallurgical and spiritual practices intertwined. From there, it spread and evolved, influencing and being influenced by various civilizations. In ancient Greece, philosophical concepts of matter and transformation laid theoretical groundwork. Later, in the Islamic Golden Age, alchemists like Jabir ibn Hayyan, Geber, made significant practical advancements, developing new laboratory techniques and theorizing about the composition of metals. Their work was crucial in transmitting alchemical knowledge to medieval Europe. Beyond the Western tradition, vibrant alchemical practices flourished in other parts of the world. Chinese alchemy, for instance, often focused on the pursuit of immortality through the creation of an elixir of life and the refinement of internal energies, known as internal alchemy. Indian alchemy, or Rasayana, similarly emphasized the prolongation of life, rejuvenation, and the preparation of medicinal compounds, often involving mercury and sulfur. These diverse traditions, while sharing common goals of transformation and perfection, developed unique methodologies and philosophical underpinnings. Let's delve into some of the key terms and concepts that define this ancient art. Perhaps the most iconic alchemical concept is the philosopher's stone. This legendary substance was believed to possess two primary powers. First, the ability to transmute base metals, like lead or mercury, into noble metals, primarily gold. This was the ultimate physical goal, the literal gold standard of alchemical success. Second, the philosopher's stone was often associated with the elixir of life, a potion or substance that could grant immortality, eternal youth, or cure all diseases. It was the ultimate quest for physical and spiritual longevity. The process of achieving the philosopher's stone, both physically and spiritually, was known as the magnum opus, or the great work. This wasn't a simple recipe but a complex series of operations, often described in symbolic stages. While interpretations varied, common stages included nigredo, blackening, a stage of decomposition, putrefaction, and purification, symbolizing the breaking down of impurities, both material and spiritual. It was often seen as a necessary initial step of chaos before order could be created. Albedo, whitening, a washing or cleansing stage, leading to a purer, more refined substance. This stage represented spiritual purification and the emergence of a new, pristine state. Rubedo, reddening, the final stage, symbolizing the achievement of the philosopher's stone, often associated with gold and spiritual enlightenment. This was the culmination of the work, representing perfection and integration. Alchemy was deeply rooted in Hermeticism, an ancient philosophical tradition based on the writings attributed to Hermes Trismegistus. Hermetic principles, such as above, so below, suggested a profound interconnectedness between the cosmos, the human body, and the alchemical process itself. This meant that the transformations observed in the laboratory were often seen as reflections of inner, spiritual transformations. Alchemists also relied heavily on symbolism. Their texts are rich with allegorical figures, animals, and colors, which were not just decorative but encoded complex chemical and philosophical ideas, often deliberately obscure to outsiders. You'd find references to the sun and moon representing gold and silver, or dragons and peacocks' tails symbolizing stages of transformation and the myriad colors appearing during the process. Now, let's address alchemy's crucial relationship to chemistry. It's no exaggeration to say that alchemy was the direct precursor to modern chemistry. While alchemists pursued mystical goals, their methods were often empirical. They experimented, observed, and meticulously recorded their findings, even if their interpretations were steeped in esotericism. Alchemists were the first true laboratory practitioners. They developed and refined many fundamental laboratory techniques that are still used in chemistry today, such as distillation, sublimation, calcination, and filtration. They designed and used apparatus like alembics and retorts, which were the forerunners of modern lab equipment. Through their tireless experimentation, they discovered and isolated numerous chemical substances, including various acids, alkalis, and metallic compounds, laying the groundwork for the systematic study of matter. Figures like Robert Boyle, often considered one of the founders of modern chemistry, were themselves deeply influenced by alchemical thought before advocating for a more rigorous, empirical approach that stripped away the mystical elements. Alchemy provided the practical foundation, the experimental spirit, and the initial body of knowledge upon which chemistry could build. The transition from alchemy to chemistry was gradual, with the scientific revolution of the 17th and 18th centuries systematically replacing alchemical theories with more testable and quantifiable models. In essence, alchemy was the crucible in which the practical skills and observational methods of chemistry were forged, even as it pursued grander, more spiritual ambitions. It was a bridge between ancient philosophy and modern science, leaving behind a legacy that includes both mystical lore and the foundational techniques and discoveries that paved the way for the chemical revolution. References: Iliade, Mircea. The Forge and the Crucible, The Origins and Structures of Alchemy. University of Chicago Press, 1978. Newman, William R. Promethean Ambitions, Alchemy and the Quest to Perfect Nature. University of Chicago Press, 2004. Principe, Lawrence M. The Secrets of Alchemy. University of Chicago Press, 2013. Homeyard, Eric John. Alchemy. Dover Publications, 1990. Copyright 2025.